over. Everyone get out.
Hello tankers and tankettes, and welcome to the other tank game. Yes, unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that Armoured Warfare launched into open beta very recently, and I thought it was about time I at least played a game or two. I actually have on my stream, but I haven't recorded anything to put up on the channel. So I'm basically just going to sit down and record some gameplay live, and I think for a change we'll actually do PvP, because my last couple of battles have all been PvE. And as you can see, I haven't played it at all today, so we're going to go with the line I'm currently grinding, which is the German Leopard line. And I'll actually just show you. You start off with the relatively weak but reasonably well gunned Leopard 1, and then that's followed by the OF40, but then you get to the Leopard 1A5, which is looking a little bit more beefy, but it's not until you get to the 2AV, the 2 and the 2A5 that you start to get some serious armour on these things. So it's a bit of an odd line, because you start off with these very fragile support guns, and then it suddenly gets very beefy once you get to tier 6. Although I don't know how beefy the tier 6 actually is, but it's definitely going to be better than this. So I've mostly been doing PvE so far. You're probably aware of that. I'm sure I mentioned that in whatever my previous video was, because it's different. It's the one thing that Armoured Warfare does that really is genuinely new over World of Tanks. And I don't say that in a pejorative way. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's different between the two is very iterative, and it, for the most part, is stuff that people have wanted in World of Tanks for a while, like rethinks of artillery, and it has prompted Wargaming to rethink their own take on artillery, which is a good thing. And things like reduced RNG spread, the shell types mattering more than in World of Tanks. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that this is doing really, really well. So, although the actual PvP tank combat is, like the actual style of it, the flavour of it isn't that different than World of Tanks, apart from the pace, which is the main difference. It just does a lot of really nice things. So if someone was coming to me these days and was saying which game to start off with, you know, I've got this game World of Tanks and this game Armoured Warfare, and they're both free to play, which one should I try? Well, I'd say if you don't care about the tanks in question, if you're not a massive fan of like World War II fighting vehicles, then Armoured Warfare might actually be the kind of one to start with for a newbie. If nothing else, because +1 matchmaking, so, you know, that's a fairly major factor right there. So we're going to see how this goes. I've actually only played a couple of PvP matches since we went live. It's much more profitable, much more rewarding in terms of the XP, but it's also it's kind of like, if you're expecting the players to be better in this game than they are in World of Tanks, then that's not how online multiplayer games work, generally speaking. Also, I probably shouldn't sit with my side onto these guys. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of the same players for both games. And that's a good thing, you know. If you can understand one, you can understand the other. Basically, you can hop back and forth between them with not that much difficulty. But PvP is just, I don't know, the PvE has just been less stressful, it's just less random, basically. And even though it's a slower way to grind things, it's more of a guaranteed way to... Oh, wow, I kind of mucked that up. I was also tempted to bring some Battlefront beta footage to the channel, but honestly, I mean, it was enjoyable. It was nice to run around and go, oh look, oh my god, it's Star Wars. But I'm terrible at those kinds of games. I don't think I'd be able to record it at very high quality, and it's just everyone's doing it. You've seen it all already. It would just be me running around doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. And honestly, it's like the Hoth thing, which is probably what you've seen the most footage of. It's not very balanced, and I'm not that bothered that it's not very balanced, because it's basically you know, it's a technical test essentially. But on the other hand, maybe I should be bothered. Maybe it's like, well, they should know better by this point. Oh, hello. Well, there's actually no. There's tanks way closer than I am. There's a Starship and an OF40 there that are a lot closer. So let's not rush back. Even the fragile tanks in this game are not that. They're not that fast. It tends to be the light tanks that are fast. The classes do work differently in this game. And that might alone take some people a little while to get used to. Because MBTs are kind of combination medium tanks and heavy tanks. But, you know, even within MBTs, there's a lot of variation. So, some are fairly fragile, like the Leopard, and you've got some much tougher ones, like the Russians tend to be fairly tough nuts. Although, even the Russian ones, you know, the armor on these things is not invincible by any means. So, you can't afford to just go gung-ho in this game. There's no equivalent of the mouse, sadly. But that's because any concept of anything like the mouse would just be so horribly totally outdated in the time frame that we're talking of for this game. So, right, I'm going to try and put my speed to use here. We know there's a BMD. Oh, yes, down there somewhere. Let's see, that was that was a T-64 heat shell for 500 damage. That was a big hit. This isn't PvE. I can't, unfortunately, just pop my repair. Go on, turret. I could turn the hull at the same time, but that actually, of course, increases your dispersion, much as in World of Tanks. So yeah, that was unfortunately getting whacked in the side for 500 because I don't have that much health to spare. But yeah, I don't know. It's I have no real, like, I've got no idea if I'm going to do well or badly in PvP because I've just not played enough of it, and I don't know the tanks really well enough. Oh, that was not really a good trade. I think I out-reload him there. God, I hope so. No, that was a terrible shot. I was trying to get like a commander's hatch or something, but no, rip. Right in the turret. So this thing basically doesn't have a lot of armor, as you may have noticed, and it helps if you don't play like a total noob. But anyway, so I just got heated to death there. I will say, much like War Thunder, there's no premium ammo in this game. That is just been thrown right out of the window, which I think is a good thing. But the ammo choices do really matter. So it's a bit like warships, actually, if you've been playing that. Too much penetration can actually be a bad thing. In World of Tanks, that's just not a concept, but in warships, there are over-penetrating hits, which will do, I think, a quarter of the damage. So that's why you get all those kind of 1,000 damage shots on your 4,000 damage shells when you're in a battleship, for example. And it's much the same in this. If you've got too much penetration, you do reduce damage. And it also depends where you actually hit the enemy tank as well. Because if you've got enough pen to overmatch the armor, like if you've got enough pen to overmatch the side armor, then you'll do less damage than if you have enough pen to pen the front. So even if you're firing at the front or the side of a tank can dictate what ammo choices you want to make. Also, I don't think we're doing very well in this. I'll actually just go back to garage and jump in another tank. I do have a bunch of the premiums. I was actually given essentially a code to add to my account, which was the equivalent of the whatever the pre-order pack was that had everything. So I didn't actually have to pay for this, which was very nice of Obsidian or Mail.ru, whoever it was that was organising all that side of things. I think it was actually Obsidian, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's even so. I possibly would have bought one of the bundles. Probably not the most expensive one, but there are some decent machines in this lot. So yeah, and the prices are, I think, comparable, maybe even a bit better than World of Tanks. I've not yet got in my head what the value of the gold is like, though, because I mean, this is much like World of Tanks. It's going to be supported by various microtransactions, and you can buy things like camo and decals for your tank. Although you can't actually get camo yet. There's a screen where you can go and purchase camo, but there are no camos available. But you can stick things like flags on your tanks. And what's a really nice option is, for a little bit more gold, it's permanent, and you can use it on any vehicle. So that's just a really nice feature. Now, I don't know if it's like World of Tanks, where if you sell the vehicle, it's then sort of magically there when you come back. But if you've got it for every vehicle anyway, it obviously doesn't matter, and it's not that much more gold. So I thought that was a nice little touch. There's also things like premium vehicles, obviously, premium time, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you can spend your actual money on, but I don't think there is at the moment. So yeah, it's you know, it's free to play. You might as well try it. And overall, it's feeling pretty decent at the moment. There's a bit of roughness around the edges still. There's one particular bug that I've been having that I think some other people have been having where that texture draw in. Well, I'm only on medium settings right now, so a bit of texture pop-ins to be expected. Yeah, that's made this annoying to stream, and I probably won't stream it again until it gets fixed, but basically the sound just goes crazy, and it just ignores what my actual sound settings are and hikes the sound levels up right to maximum. And when you're streaming, as you can imagine, that's a bit of a problem. Heck, even a problem when you're trying to record. Ooh, yep, there's a bunch of stuff there. Now, this is a wheeled vehicle, obviously, so handles a bit differently than tanks. Also, it's a tank destroyer, so it has no armour, so I've got to be quite careful. But the nice thing about this game is that basically every tank has Sixth Sense from the start. You don't have to ever do anything extra to get Sixth Sense, so it's just you ignore it at your peril, basically. And you also always have warning of artillery incoming, but it's not a lot of warning. But artillery hits much more like kind of same tiered tanks. It's not like World of Tanks where it does disproportionately high damage for its tier. So it's just generally a lot more balanced, it feels like. Oh, is there a... I don't know these maps, that's half my problem right there, because I've played PvP more than this, so I know the PvP maps reasonably well at this stage. And, oh, ow, ow, ow. Yeah, I don't have a lot of armour here. The PvP maps are kind of, they take place on portions of some of the maps that are in the PvP pool, but of course they play rather differently, because then it's all about the bot spawn points, which are a bit funny at the moment. Like sometimes the bots will spawn literally right in front of your face, like the tanks kind of get magically transported in. So I think that's one of the things they definitely need to work on for PvE in particular, is making it a little bit less, like they need to figure out a better way to get the PvP tanks in. Oh, that guy keeps popping out and spotting. So, yeah. So your tank destroyers are kind of definitely fragile second line things. I think the Dragon actually has a fairly good reputation. It's just, I've played, I think, 2 battles in in PvE, and I mostly bought this because the one after it, the nope, the name's gone, but the one that comes after it is a vehicle where you unlock a retrofit. And the retrofit system is another thing. I quite like how they've done it. Now, it's a bit of a money sink, but that's fine. I mean, in terms of the credit rewards, the game is definitely more generous than World of Tanks for the tiers that you're at. But, yeah, the main way that they try to kind of balance that is by soaking it up with retrofits. And they're sort of an extended version of the equipment that you might get in World of Tanks or warships. And you can get kind of some basic versions are just there when you log into the game for the very first time. Others you get through eliting certain vehicles, and there are others still that you get through actually eliting. Well, you upgrade them through eliting various vehicles, so there's different ways to unlock these things. And they all do different things as well. Also, it looks like... Are we just out of range with everyone in the north, or did everyone just come here? I don't know. Anyway, let's not go too gonk-ho. One of the features of TDs, by the way, is if you sit still, you get a sniper bonus. I just think lets you hit for extra damage. But yeah, so you know how I said that the teams really don't get any better. I'm actually going to turn around. Don't think it'll do me any good because this thing's got no armor, but somebody else might get the idea. Because they could just cap us, and we could easily stop that happening. Unless they're all rushing back for their own cap right now, I don't know. No, there we go, we are being capped. And it's going to be a good few tanks as well, so this is probably going to be very short and inglorious. Well, I've had 1 damaging hit so far, so very inglorious indeed. Oh, yes, that's not good. Oh, it's one of them as well. Those autocannons are very nasty when you don't have any armour. Right, so there's loads of time to decap, but we don't want to get complacent. Okay, there we go. I'm not spotted anymore. Let's see if I can't get somebody to plus help. Because I only have so much health to trade is my main problem. And also you might have noticed the gun depression on this is not great. Oh, well, I got that leopard, but this is a 90mm gun, so yeah, it's 90mm gun with heat. The pen's pretty good, but it's not bad. It's not very high damaging, I mean. Right, yeah, no, I really can't get to the cap to actually decap without dying. But I've had many a game like this in World of Tanks as well. In fact, the live play footage I did the other day was exactly the same. It was like, well, go and decap, go and decap. Yeah, I'll die if I do. And I did die anyway, so it was a bit anticlimactic. Right, get the leopard out of the way. No, went in his tracks. Can we kill that leopard though? Come on, right, there we go. He's dead. What's actually in the cap? There we go. There we go. There we go. That bought time. There's also a scorpion there. The XM800's just going in like a banshee. Oh, no, wasn't fully aimed. I don't think there are that many tanks in this game where it's really possible to whiz around and like the Russian MBTs especially do not reward any kind of on-the-move firing. Or the Americans either, really, I have to say. There's not that many tanks that can do it well, and you tend to see more people doing it in things with autocannons, because with autocannons it's just about spamming a lot of shells. And there's a lot of weakly armoured enough vehicles that the autocannon vehicles... you'd think, you know, modern era, or kind of, well, at this stage of the game anyway, Cold War era MBTs versus like 20mm autocannons, you'd think, that's ridiculous. That's surely terrible and will never work. But there's enough, you know, if you get around behind somebody and there's enough machines like this that are just very, very thinly armoured, that no, absolutely you can get away with autocannons. As that XM, whatever it was, demonstrated on me earlier and shaved off a reasonable chunk of health. Right, I hope I don't run into the leopard. He probably could just one-shot me, actually. But on the other hand, if I can get the drop on him, that could be rather nice. But we'll see. Oh, he's all the way around there. Okay. They're down to the last couple of tanks as well, so... Oh, he's super low health. He's an easy one-shot as long as I have the element of surprise. Also, yes, my tank destroyer now sounds like a broken washing machine. Oh, hello. I did not mean to do that. I did not know that jump was there. It's actually harder to take full damage in this game, but yeah, it can still happen. I very nearly blew up myself there. Okay then. Yes, just because you can go really, really fast doesn't necessarily mean it's always a good idea that you should go really, really fast. Right, I'm just going to auto aim and then I'm just going to hit him in the tracks apparently. But I don't even know if he knows I'm here, so let's actually take the time to aim and... Oh, someone else get the kill. Oh well. So, I don't know, 1700 damage just about. That was not terrible. A bit derpy though. Let's just ignore throwing most of my own remaining health away on that jump. It was for the vine, yeah. Wow, there's a phrase I'd never thought I'd hear myself using. Yes. Why is it when I never ever watch those Vine videos on YouTube, they still pop up on my recommended, you know, thing to watch after you've watched this video? It's like, I don't ever watch these things. YouTube, why? Why do you do this? I don't know. Anyway, that had nothing to do with anything. Also, apparently I did some blind damage. That was 2k damage. That actually wasn't totally awful. Anyway, better than the previous game, which probably was totally awful. Let's see if I can find battle results for the previous game. Oh, there we go. OF40, and that was a loss, and I was near the bottom because I pretty much played like a noob. So there you go. So Armoured Warfare, yeah. It's doing alright. It's running better. Like I said, there's still one or two bugs. The sound bug is particularly annoying for me with trying to stream. Not really had it crash though. I think it did once, but they actually just did a patch today where they fixed a bunch of stuff as well. So, you know, it's a game in progress, but I think they're doing pretty well with this so far, and I shall definitely be still playing it and keeping an eye on it. So if you've enjoyed this bit of AEW footage, this bit of gameplay, you can leave in the comments below. You can hit the like button, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.